Welcome to another episode of Creepy Stories. In today's episode, we have an uncomfortable tale about a near human trafficking exploit, and then a game with a little child. May have escaped trafficking before I knew what it was. By Pretty Jules. This happened when I was about 15 or 16 in Colorado Springs, and I thought it was creepy at the time. Now that I'm a little older and have studied sex trafficking in college, I am so thankful that nothing worse happened. I was at the mall with my mom and little sister. I was just hanging out when I decided I wanted to do my own thing for a little bit. I ran off to do what teenagers in the mall do best. I was screwing around with one of those donation bins that are circular and let you raise coins down them when a man approached me. I don't remember much about him, except that he was balding, a little heavy, and middle-aged. He stopped and made some small talk with me for a minute and put a coin down the chute, and then walked off. I didn't think much of it and eventually wandered down the hallways to a break area that had some vending machines. I was struggling with a stupid machine to get a Pepsi when the man came back. He told me that I was really pretty and that I could be a model. It was a little bit uncomfortable at this point, as it was just a little weird for this middle-aged guy to make remarks like that to a visibly underaged girl. I basically said thanks and returned to my soda endeavor. The dude wandered off again, but this time he pulled out his phone and started talking to someone. Eventually my quest for a soda was successful, and I sat down to drink my freshly conquered beverage. Around this time, the guy came back again and told me that his friend ran a very successful modeling agency in Greece, and that they would be interested in giving me a job. He asked me for my name and where I went to school, and I panicked and told him. This situation had just flown straight the hell off of my creepometer, and I've always been a terrible liar, so I didn't even think to give him fake information. He then walked off again and started talking on the phone, pacing back and forth, and seemingly trying to look important. At this point, I was extra freaked, so I texted my mom asking where she was. The guy came back over and told me to take his number so that he could get in contact with me about the modeling job. I dutifully put his number in my phone, and he finally left for good. I deleted it immediately and then called my mom and told her what happened. At the time, we joked about the only thing he didn't offer me was free candy and a puppy, and I tried to put it out of my mind, other than coming up with a fake name in high school in case a creep ever asked me again. To be honest, the older I've gotten, the more scary I think it was. I'm working on a minor in women's and ethnic studies in college, and one of the subjects that I'm really passionate about is sex trafficking. After a few years, the story came back to me, and I realized that it fit the typical trafficker's game to a T. Look for a young, potentially vulnerable woman, offer successful work in another country. It's not uncommon for traffickers in this country to recruit girls with promises of modeling jobs in Colorado Springs, as unfortunately a human trafficking hub due to the central location of interstates and such running through it. I feel really lucky that it didn't work on me, and I really hope that the guy didn't get the opportunity to hurt anyone. So likely human trafficker at the mall? Let's not meet. The second and final story. My experience playing Charlotte's Web. By Deleted. The rules. My friend showed me how to play Charlotte's Web, after she found it on some website with lists of creepy legends and whatnot. She was eager to play, and so was I. After all, this one looked less horrifying than the others I had seen. So we got all the supplies together and set everything up around noon in her basement. We started the game, and I tried hard to remain calm. This proved easier said than done, because, we were waiting for a ghost child to walk up behind us. After a minute or two, I heard something behind us, but couldn't see anything in the mirror. When she finally came into view, with a torn white dress and muddy bare feet, I didn't know what to do. I just kept waiting to see what her reaction would be to the toy. I saw her eyes widen a bit when she noticed the Barbie doll we had set out. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up straight when she leaned across the table and grabbed it. When her hands got close to us, it got really cold, but warmed up when she snatched the Barbie and pulled her arm away. At this point, I was ready to jump up and down and leave, but I sat there and looked between Charlotte and my friend in the mirror. She looked even more frightened than I did, but we powered through it. Charlotte cradled the doll in her arms and smiled at us. This might sound weird, but a wave of happiness and affection washed over me, and when she did, I started smiling too. She was an adorable little girl, and it made me giddy to see that we had made her happy, but I had to remind myself that she wasn't a human. I made eye contact with my friend in the mirror and slightly nodded as to cue to start interrogating her. My friend asked the first question. "How old are you?" Charlotte scrunched up her nose for a second and then confidently said, 7.5. Her voice was high-pitched and loud, but at the same time it was like she whispered it into my ear. It was my turn. I asked her, "Where do you live?" I got goosebumps when she pointed to the mirror and I saw my friend's eyes get wide. My friend asked Charlotte if she had a favorite color. I guess she had already run out of ideas. She held up the Barbie doll, gestured to its magenta dress, and shouted, "Pink." She talked with such energy and seemed genuinely happy to share her thoughts with us. My turn again. "How did you tear your dress?" She frowned and shrugged her shoulders. Maybe she didn't realize she was dead. My friend asked her if she liked talking to people through the mirror. Charlotte gave us a huge grin and nodded her head. I felt the wave of happiness again. After asking more generic questions, like what she liked to do, we ended the game. Charlotte looked a little disappointed, but she waved goodbye and walked to the side of the room until we couldn't see her any longer. However, we could still hear her small footsteps. Less than 10 seconds later, we couldn't hear anything, and the game was over. All in all, it was a pretty scary experience, but it left me with a warm, fuzzy feeling. I can't imagine how the game would play out if she got angry. If you like this video, hit the like button and share it with another like-minded horror fiend just like you. If you want to know when more videos are coming, simply subscribe to the channel. If you have any of your own creepypastas or true horror stories, share in the comments below and you just might hear your story being read. I know you can pick any YouTuber to watch, so I just want to thank you for picking one of my videos. Hope it didn't scare you to death.